DHS Secretary Chad Wolf and former acting ICE Director Tom Homan. Gentlemen, it's good to see you tonight. The president, Chad, he's going to go to Arizona next week. No word he's going to go to the border. Voters say they're really, at both sides, they don't like what's going on. Biden is saying he's doing everything he can, Chad, about the border. What do you say?
The president's not doing hardly anything that he's capable of doing along that border. And odds are he's not going to the border. He'll go to other parts of Arizona. Look, he doesn't want to go to the border because he doesn't want to hear from Border Patrol agents and other experts there that their failed strategy is not working. They would want him to change course. And those are difficult conversations. And I'm sure his people in the White House are going to keep him far away from that. But I think it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming that the Biden strategy along that border is failed on every front, and every month it's getting worse and worse, and every year it's getting worse and worse. And the American people are tired of it. They want to change. They want to be secure. They want communities secure, and they want to stop this invasion from occurring. So I think there's a lot of work to be done.
We got, Tom, 7.5 million illegal border crossings under this White House. 11,000 just through yesterday, more than 1,000 terrorists caught. You know, tens of thousands of convicted criminals, the most in recent memory. But, you know, what do you think of Biden saying he's done everything he can?
It angers me. Every day I wake up angry because, you know, me and Chad both work for the Trump administration. We created the most secure border in my lifetime. I started as a border patrolist in 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents. Every president took some steps to secure the border, but no one did what President Trump did. Unprecedented success, Liz, of 45-year low in illegal migration. 83% decline. Look how many lives he saved. The border was at the highest security we've ever had. In the Biden administration, Joe Biden's the first president in the history of this nation who came in office and unsecured a border on purpose, which has caused record number of fentanyl killing Americans, record number of migrants have died crossing our border, a record number of women and children have been sex trafficked in the United States. I saw a report today over 400,000 children have crossed our border illegally. The government released them to so-called sponsors. They can't find 100,000 of them. 100,000 children missing that this government released.
That's shocking, and it's disturbing. And it should concern every law-abiding American who says yes to legal immigration, but when you collapse the border, it's lawlessness, and people get hurt, even killed. Watch the finger pointing, though. Let's watch Obama's DHS Secretary Jay Johnson. You're going to see a Chicago official again say it is Biden's fault. He needs to stop it. Watch.
The migrants and the smugglers have now figured out that those things are not able to handle these numbers. And so they're working around this system again. And so I'm worried that these numbers are going to get higher and higher. If we're seeing these kinds of numbers in September, October, I think we're in for a real mess.
What we see here is the fact that Chicago can't sustain this, where we have nearly 1,600 people living in police districts, in the lobbies, in tents, in the parkways. You know, you can't keep asking cities like Chicago, whether they are a sanctuary or not, to come up with the solution for the federal government's failure. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all of Congress need to get their heads out of their rear ends and start focusing what's important and addressing this issue head on.
Chad, you know what Trump, if it is he's the nominee or any of the other GOP candidates, you know what they should say to Biden in the 2024 debate? They should ask him, do you know that Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City taxpayers are going to have to pay with higher property taxes, income taxes for your border crisis? What do you think he would say?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we need to be clear. This is not Congress's fault. This is Joe Biden, President Biden, the Department of Homeland Security under President Biden. These are actions that they have actively taken to make that border less secure. Tom is exactly right. This is not about Congress. This is not about anything else. These are about the policies that they took down and the failed policies that they have put in place that have made America less safe than it was just several years ago. So they need to stop placing blame elsewhere. They need to look themselves in the mirror and say, maybe it's our failed policies that are doing this. And then the clips that you just showed, it's not Republican or Democrat anymore. This is an American problem and an American issue, and people from both sides of the aisle are upset.
That's right. What Chad just said, Tom, it's not, you know, either or, either party. It's an American issue. Final word, Tom, what do you say?
It is an American issue. We deserve better. We deserve a border that's safe. We deserve national security. You can't have national security without border security. But let me say this one thing. They could stop this crisis tomorrow if they put in a Remain in Mexico program back in place. The highest courts in the land said it's legal. They could do that tomorrow and take 85% of this problem away. But they're not going to do it because they don't want to fix it.
Got it. Chad Wolf, Tom Homan, gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you both. We'll stay on that story.